We're at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, ready for qualifying for the Lone Star Le Mans, round 6 of the 2025 FIA World Endurance Championship. Welcome back, everybody. I hope your view is as good as theirs up in the tower, and the fans packing the grandstands ready for qualifying to get underway. 6 rounds of 8. After our summer break from Sao Paulo, it's a bit of a busy weekend. Lone Star Le Mans this weekend, European Le Mans at Silverstone next weekend, limbering up for, who knows, maybe a World Endurance return. Then 2 weeks after that, we go to Fuji in Japan, and then round out the season, as we always do, in Bahrain at the beginning of November. I can hear myself on the track PA, that's not going down very well. High above us is the Goodyear blimp. And on the track in a moment or two will be Goodyear tyres getting ready for the qualifying session. Now, in qualifying, we have a 12-minute session with all cars going out together. The top 10 then go through into a 10-minute Hyperpole session. In LMGT3, who go out first, it will be the bronze-graded driver in each car who sets the time in session 1 and tries to get their car through into Hyperpole. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me Anthony Davidson, Graham Goodwin. Down in the pit lane in a little bit of spotting rain, I believe, is Shay Adams. Shay, what are conditions like before qualifying gets underway?
And what is going to be most treacherous for the drivers is when they come back into their pit box, because while the concrete underneath the overhang is dry, the concrete in the pit box is very slippery. I've actually talked to a few drivers who are checking that out before the session began, just to figure out when they come back in to try and stop on their marks is going to be a lot more difficult than it normally is. A lot of nervous faces as the beginning of this session will be the bronze rated drivers, some of whom are more comfortable than others driving in wet conditions. It's not properly wet out there, but it's definitely not dry either. So who should we keep an eye on for a little bit of an advantage? Well, how about Ben Keating in the number 33 TF Sport Corvette? Ben's won here in just about every form of racing in which he's participated at Circuit of the Americas. So wet, dry, hurricane, desert, he knows it all for this track.
And the Texan in the 33 Corvette is a serial pole hunter. Let's see where we get to as we get ready to send the cars out in just a few moments.
So Circuit of the Americas, a great anti-clockwise track, 20 corners, 5.5 kilometers long. And it's a 6-hour race. We look at a couple of corners. Sector 1, critical to get right. There's a huge elevation change, around 25 meters from the start-finish line up towards the apex of Big Red, as they call it. So a critical one to get right in qualifying. Then you're through the winding section before you come to the next one at turn 11. It's got to get it right on the braking and also maximize the traction on the exit as well. They will be looking at track limits here. Keep all 4 tyres inside the white lines, the key for that one. Then you come through to sector 3. It's a much tighter section than the rest of them until you get to this corner here, the triple apex. It turns 16 through to 18. It's not flat out, even in the dry. In the rain, going to be even more of a challenge.
And don't forget, if you're enjoying watching the World Endurance Championship this season, there are still tickets available for race day Sunday, tomorrow, or today if you're watching this later, here in Austin, Texas. There are still tickets available for Fuji as well if you find yourself in Japan, or for Bahrain, our season finale. So it is a challenging circuit, Anthony, one that drivers love, but been quite a lot of resurfacing actually over the last couple of seasons, and you are going to have to take a slick tyre. It's not remotely wet enough for a wet, so it may not necessarily be the fastest car that comes out on top of the pile, but possibly the fastest driver who's got the most confidence in their car. Rain's a great equaliser, isn't it?
It is, especially, as Shay was saying, for the bronze-rated drivers. They're the ones that have to take to the wheel first, and it's going to be all about confidence for them. So the least experienced drivers are the bronzes. So it's going to be more about driver than equipment, that's for sure, in these early laps, especially in qualifying. And then they tee it up for the silver driver that takes over later.
Yeah, I've walked all around looking at all the track. It's definitely not wet enough for wets, and the wind is blowing clear stuff this way. So I think we're good.
Great view there of Ben Keating's latest metal flake liveried helmet.
Looks great, doesn't it? And so does the car, and so does this car from Heart of Racing. Remember, this two-phase qualifying system, if you're watching with live timing and scoring either via the app or online, there's two games in play here. Session 1 with the bronze driver, it's about who's at the bottom of the timing and scoring tower, and session 2 with the silver rank driver, it's very much about who's at the top.
Well, this will be even more challenging though for the drivers. I know Ben Keating, he's one of the most, or the most experienced bronze drivers out there, so he's comfortable in taking that decision to go onto the slick tyres. Might not be the case for other drivers, and cars might differ slightly in characteristics when you've got a damp circuit with slick. So we have no tyre warmers in the World Endurance Championship, and that's going to play even more havoc with getting them up to temperature on these opening laps in the damp conditions. So Ben Keating reckons that the rain is dispersing. It looks like it is from what I can see out the commentary box window now, but dark clouds still are lurking around. We seem to be right on the edge of this weather system.
Air temperature dropping, track temperature dropping as well. Track temperature has gone down to 32 degrees. Air temperature dropped to 26 degrees, dropped 10 degrees in the last 2 hours. So that's better for the drivers in terms of cockpit temperature, that's for sure.
The condition has been getting better, Francois. It's the wind came up and the rain is almost nothing now.
Not quite sure what 9-0 is. Some setting, obviously, maybe on traction or on braking, but cars lining up now to go out in the qualifying session. But you can see there is a slightly damp track. Anthony, not remotely wet enough for the wet weather tyre, so it's going to be big boy brave pants on the hard tyre.
Well, they have no intermediate tyres. You can see there on the tyre graphic. So only wet or slick. So, of course, on a damp circuit, you'll tend to venture onto the slicks and hope you can get some temperature into them. But it does look a lot wetter, or in a more damp situation than I thought it was based on Keating's comments.
Yeah.
So let's see what the rest of the track's like.
It's looking, I'm checking as we get a shot of each of the cars, sidewalls, all with the dry weather tyre, the hard tyre, may well be making its final appearance this season after it's debuted into Lagos. Go to Fuji next time. We're not going to be looking at high temperatures there. And then, of course, for Bahrain, it's a race that runs into darkness.
Well, we saw during FP3, didn't we, cars spinning off with a little bit of moisture on the circuit by running onto the serrated curbs. They tend to hold the moisture more, especially the painted areas as well on the runoff areas. So that's one to avoid for all the drivers. Hopefully, a lot of these bronze drivers would have been out there in the spitting rain conditions from earlier on in FP3 and have learnt that lesson. Otherwise, you'll see some spinning cars by doing exactly that.
It's two Aston Martins at the head of the queue. The one from the Heart of Racing team, the other from Racing Spirit Le Mans. 18 LMGT3 cars set to go. 9 pairs from 9 different manufacturers of GT3 machinery in this LMGT3 formula. Somewhat different to standard GT3 in a number of ways, but not least because it is a true endurance formula with the way you need to use the tyres.
1 minute, under 1 minute to the start of the LMGT3 qualifying session. Under 1 minute to the start of the LMGT3 qualifying session.
So race director Ramsey fires Ramsey at the mic.
Nope, he's not coming in. Just to remind you, this is not about being fastest. This is about being in the top 10. That's what counts.
30 seconds to the start of LMGT3 qualifying session. $15 seconds to the start of the session. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is now open. Pit exit is now open. This is the start of the LMGT3 qualifying session.
So 12 minutes on the clock, starts immediately, the session begins. And again, it is about getting into the top 10. Everybody below 10th at the end of this 12-minute session, that's where you finish. 11th, 12th, 13th, whatever on the grid, those are your starting positions. Those are locked in, a little bit like Indy qualifying. And then we go into the top 10, and that then is where your outright pace really has to come into effect.
All right, immediately you can see there from riding on board the Ferrari, of course, and the windscreen wiper actually on the McLaren, so it is still spitting. And no tyre warmers, like I say, it's the higher speed corners really where you have to tiptoe your way around. You can see how slowly they're having to drive through this section here, turns 5, 6 and 7. It really isn't dry enough for the slicks at this stage, and it's tentative stuff for Thomas Floor as he goes through turn 8 now.
It's always a bit twitchy on a cold tyre anyway. When it goes on at ambient temperature, which is 60 or 70 degrees below its operating temperature. So it always takes time to bring them in, and on a wet surface, you've got wet mahogany tyres rather than just mahogany tyres. Now, on the left-hand side on our timing pylon, this new graphic we're introducing this weekend shows where everybody is in the cycle of their quick runs. So outlap, that's self-explanatory, everybody coming out of the pits. Then as they start to get to the line, when they start their next lap, it'll be on their first run. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a timed lap.
Ben Keating just doing a bit of braking in the straight line there, just to try and generate the temperature through the brakes and into the tyre itself as you get that heat soak. Lots of drivers weaving around as well in a desperate attempt to try and build that tyre temperature. That's what this is all about for these bronze drivers in this damp session. It's just about getting these things switched on so you can get a bit more grip. That's what the tyre wants. But with the rain still falling, you daren't drive too slow because you're just getting stuck in the same lap time, the same feeling with the car. And to overcome that hurdle from inside the car is difficult even for the best in the business, let alone a bronze-rated driver.
Yeah. Track temperature 32.7 degrees. Now, that's kind of in the 70s, so it's not exactly cold tarmac, but then the operating temperature of the tyre will be 90 plus Celsius. So you're not getting much help from the tarmac in any temperatures. Even if track temperature was in the 50s, it's barely halfway up to what the tyre needs. So you do have to work the tyre. And it may well be that we're not going to see a quick lap coming in until after 2 more laps. But then you're going to see the cars that are hardest on their tyres actually bringing them in faster, and that's a benefit at this stage.
But this first sector of the track looks significantly more damp than the final sector of the track, and that's where they're going to need the confidence that they're not going to find, that they're expecting grip that just does not appear mechanically.
And the real problem, Anthony, as we just saw there watching Ian James in the heart of racing Aston Martin, is that to be quick through the S's, you have to use all the curbs. Where's the water? What's the bit that is going to dry least quickly? It's the curbs.
The inside curbs are okay to use. It's the exit curbs like that one, and also before you brake into a corner like turn 11. So will they run onto this red and white curb there? No, you don't. And that's what the driver can instinctively feel based on what they learned in FP3 as well. So the exit curbs, don't forget you got traction control in these LMGT3 cars where you got the ABS, the anti-lock braking system. So you do have driver aids there under you, but it's more the high-speed corners where that's where you need the confidence in your own abilities and the car that you have under you. That's where you're going to find the lap time right now. And look, so the rain has shifted. It's coming down more around that second sector into the third sector as we are here on circuit now. And that's what it's this living, breathing thing that you're having to assess real time.
So difficult. Keep an eye on the times, by the way, coming from Ryan Hardwick in the 92 car. He's been told, going for a push lap. 31 BMW, we're hearing, has been told one more prep lap before they push. It's such a tough call here, and
it really is. And with the rain still coming down, who knows if this session will... I mean, they all said it looks like it's clearing up. It's clearly not, at least in Sector 3 where they are now. So it could be about getting this lap time in right now. Who knows?
Got to be done, hasn't it? You've got to get a banker in these conditions, with the thought in your head that we could get a red flag if someone gets it wrong, or it could get worse.
And there's one other factor that we haven't mentioned yet, and that's turn 6 and all the gravel. If people cut it, if they start to build up speed, they will start to cut it. So the track is not guaranteed to remain clean either.
Now, Scott, the first time's coming in, and Team James has gone through with a 2:26.1. But we saw that almost a full lap with Ian, just how tippy-toe he was having to be. What about who's prepared to be out there and be brave? At the moment, keep an eye on the 46 car of Ahmed Al-Hati.
Well, just to put it into perspective, they were doing 205s in FP3 in dry condition, now 225s on the board.
We need a new word for this. This is not a push lap, this is a sort of creep lap, because they're trying to creep some speed into the cars. Now, two of our fastest cars in the dry free practice 3 were 60 and 61 Mercedes. They are a long way out of it. Ben Keating out of it at the moment. May not yet have gone for a push lap though. Ian James, the car now, Anthony, actually looks like it's been driven quickly, whereas on the previous lap, it definitely didn't look like he was pushing it.
Yeah, this part of the circuit looks like it's drying more around turn 11. He came out of turn 9 and 10 much faster than we've seen before, now heads down that back straight into the tricky braking zone of turn 12. This is where it looked pretty treacherous last time around. He's braking offline this time because the rubber causes extra slip, and once again he comes into this corner. It looks even wetter this time around than it was before, but the drier parts of the track certainly building a bit more tyre temperature, and that's going to help him. So it's getting more confident. You see it was a purple sector for him midway in sector 2. Someone else has stolen that from him, but the lap times are still improving here for everybody.
Give you a perspective here, something like 2 seconds quicker at this point on track than he was last time around. But the spread across all 18 cars, something like 10 seconds. We're looking for where the improvements are coming at the bottom end of this zone on this lap.
Well, look at the gaps. There's 2 tenths between first and second, but 4 seconds down to 10th place. So basically, nobody outside the top 2 has actually set a representative lap time at all, but we're nearly 4.5 minutes remaining out of 12 minutes. Most of the session, nobody's actually yet really gone quickly.
Only six of the cars currently on track at the moment. I said that we're on track to beat the current provisional pole time. Lots of change to come here, but there's a lot of jeopardy involved.
Yeah, you're going to see it, sorry, Martin, you're going to see a lot of disparity between driver skill coming into this session, and that's going to continue on all the way to the end. So the thing to watch out for, 4 minutes to go, that elimination zone in red, the left-hand side of your screen. Keep an eye on the drivers there, like Keating, for example, just shoots up into P4. He was in that elimination zone. Thomas Floor gets himself to the top of that elimination zone. So that's what we're looking at for this session.
Still, Ahmed Al-Hati in 5th place, now down to 6th place, 3 seconds away from the fastest part. That's Petro and Brăescu, and that is in the Lexus. Now, that's the first representative quick time we've had. Yasser Shaheen in the BMW, car number 31. That looks like a decent time.
And he's currently last on the board, but that's about to change as he comes out the final corner.
So we're 3.5 minutes from the end of the session, and some cars are just setting their very first flying lap.
Well, that's Yasser Shaheen bopping all the way up from 18th to 2nd on that lap. That's something like 9 seconds quicker than he'd been on his previous lap. At the moment, who's on the way out if we had the flag at this stage? Derek De Boer just drops into the elimination zone now, the number 10 Aston Martin. Both Mercedes, both Ferraris, the 92 Porsche, the 78 Lexus, and James Cottingham, who's lost a time to track limits, I believe, goes all the way down from something like 4th to 18th.
And that might be critical because nobody below the top 6 has set a representative time. So although they're in the elimination zone, that's just because they haven't put in a lap. Not one quick lap. Look, I mean, look at the Mercedes here. Really struggling in terms of pace.
I think the answer, I'm going to disagree with you here. It is a representative time for what they believe is safe in these conditions. The reality is you've got others that are more confident to push. There are huge gaps in this field in terms of their confidence levels with these conditions, and you can see why.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Berry's on his best lap and he's getting overtaken there by the Corvette, so he clearly just hasn't got the tyres into a zone where they can be, and that pays dividends. So the Corvette finds its way by, and that's going to go against car 61 here, Berry, on his best lap so far, with 2 personal bests on the board.
The other thing is Martin Berry's not raced here before at all in any conditions, so that's a real struggle for him. He's still trying to really learn the track, and then they've greased it up. So out at the moment, Derek De Boer in the number 10 Aston Martin. Cillian Martin in the Iron Dames 85 Porsche has just been bumped out. 78 looping spin for Arnaud Robin. That Lexus is not in either. That's right down at the bottom. James Cottingham right at the bottom, improving. So there goes the Iron Dames across the line. That Porsche, Celia Martin, did not improve.
Gilbert improves there, still in the elimination zone,
yeah,
but a better lap. And this is what happened to the Lexus. The final corner just touched that serrated curb.
Yeah.
Looked like also quite close to the car in front, maybe just impaired the vision ever so slightly, and it was a visual distraction.
Well, making the point about Martin Berry not having been here before, quite correct. He comes to this race, by the way, on the back of 2 consecutive pole positions in the European Le Mans Series in pretty much the same car.
Yeah.
So Keating was running up in 4th place. At one point, he's back down into the dropout zone, down in 13th. So this lap's going to be quite important for him. 40 seconds remaining.
I don't think there was a loss of a lap because of track limits, but he is definitely going to need to find some speed.
And he is personal best first sector, so let's keep an eye and see how he gets on through the rest of it. Squirming around under the braking goes the number 81 Corvette, who's through at the moment in P7.
And this is their last gasp, 20 seconds on the clock.
So here's Keating now, tackles that same corner. You see the 13 on the side of the car, that's his current position, but 2 personal bests as Robin improves in the middle sector to go fastest of all.
Ben Keating more than a second from safety here for this car to go through into the next session. And it's this lap and no more, I think, for this car.
Look at Arnaud Robin. He's got a purple middle sector, or did have, but he's 17th at the moment, 10 seconds off the pace. So this is going to be an epic lap from him. Darren Leung, 16th in the McLaren. Neither McLaren looking good here at the moment. Neither Mercedes is in. Number 10 Aston Martin is in. 21 Ferrari is out.
Let's keep an eye on Leung. You see on the bottom left of your screen the 95 McLaren.
Berry is in. Leung is in.
Both Ferraris out, the 92 out. Derek De Boer, having got in, is back out again. Ben Keating hits 4th.
Thomas Floor gets in. Pedro Umbraresco goes in, and Floor is out. Hardwick improves, but not enough. And as they come streaming across the line, only Andrew Gilbert who goes in and bumps out Tom Van Rompuy. And the final lap, James Cottingham, if it's clean, is in, and he bumps out Sebastian Gattuso in the 88 Ford.
George, just to put that into context, through pretty much the whole of that session, the 2 Fords were sitting somewhere between 2nd and 4th, and one of them is out of qualifying. Both the Ferraris, having been in at the start of the penultimate lap, are both now out, as are both the Porsches.
Yeah, that's a big surprise. That is a big surprise.
It looked like the circuit was improving all the way to the end there. Just that last minute or so, it was rapidly improving, and that's why it was basically whoever crossed the line last was going to improve their lap time.
James Cottingham, by the way, finished, I think, 4th, 5th in that session and did not have a meaningful lap time against his name as he started that final lap. So that's a gutsy final lap from him.
It really was. I mean, it was such tough conditions for, like I said, the lowest graded drivers out there. So for the ones that got through, huge congratulations. And actually, I was expecting, in all honesty, more spins, more thrills and spills in that session than we saw.
The Iron Dames in the pink and white Porsche, Celia Martin, actually lost that last lap because of track limits, so she dropped down to 18th place, so even worse than it looked.
So it's actually a BMW 1-2-4 that session. That matters less than the fact they're into the Hyperpole session where we'll see the silver drivers. So it is going to be both the BMWs, then the first of the Lexus, Heart of Racing's Aston Martin, the 59 United Autosports McLaren, and both McLarens make it through, the second Lexus, and Ben Keating's 33 TF Sport Corvette.
That will certainly give a little bit of a boost to Yasser Shaheen, whose morale was in his boots when I talked to him at the driver's autograph. So he said, we've driven the wheels off this car, the team have done everything they can, and we can't make it fast. There's Roy Andrade.
His brother, and Jamie Campbell-Walter, a previous champion, of course, here at the FIA World Endurance Championship.
And disappointed, obviously, not to have his car through. So he's not the driver that shares with Ben Keating. He's with the number 81, Van Rompuy. So not making it through, I think that was the disappointment we could see on his face there.
There are the 10 cars and red flag.
Saw the same with the Iron Dames as well. Okay.
We'll come back to that, but red flag being shown. They are the 10 that make it through. The 2 I didn't mention, by the way. Great final run there from Andrew Gilbert. Congratulations to him. And then the 10th place car is one of the 2 Mustangs, a 77 car, getting through to Hyperpole. The 88 was shuffled back in the final second of that session, but had sat as high as 3rd in the session for much of it. One other quick point, by the way, about Ben Keating. We said he needed to find a second. He found 3.
The difference between the 2 Mustangs, 2600s.
By the way, news for
2.6
those following LMGT3 racing. News today, in fact, broken by my friend and colleague Stephen Kilby just a few moments ago. Evo version of the Mustang coming for next year.
We may have a slight delay because of electrical storms, potentially. I'm not sure what else might be happening on the track, but there is a red flag, which means that the normally extremely fast turnaround to go back out may not happen. Now then, there's Derek de Boer, didn't get the lap he wanted into number 10, Racing Spirit Le Mans Aston Martin. For those who are going out now, this delay, if it's 4 or 5 minutes, might actually be a good thing, because what happens if you have hot brakes and tyres on the car is you help to warm the car up.
Dennis Olsen, not the result that we were hoping for from qualifying. The Fords were up at the head of the field for so much of the session. Do you think it was just bad luck on where Bernard was on the track? And Stefan, ultimately, at the end of that session, that they both finished so far down?
Yeah, I think so. We got held up by traffic. Fortunately, we did not make enough gap, and we had to overtake. Both cars had to overtake 2 cars during the last push lap, which is the crucial one. And yeah, unfortunate. I think we have a lot of potential in our car, but yeah, we'll bring our Ford back up to the top tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the good news. 6 hours to get to the front tomorrow.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So, yeah, disappointment there for Dennis Olsen, the 88 crew. The 77 crew, as Martin Haben said, making it through. Car at the front of the queue here, and indeed at the top of timing and scoring at the end of that session. Could be in trouble here, though, Anne.
Yeah, Ian James saw the checkered flag twice. It pops up on our timing page. So he could be in trouble here. And obviously now the silver driver takes over from him. But that only just popped up as the drivers started to come and join the queue there. So let's see how that one unfolds.
Well, now, I wonder what the penalty is potentially for that. I don't think it would be a loss of lap time, but if it would, then that might be enough to drop him out of the top 10.
Well, if it's,
we'll have to wait and see.
Clock's ticking by.
As I was told many, many years ago in my very first kart race, if you see the checkered flag first, you're the winner. If you see it twice, you're in trouble.
You're the loser. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, let's see what the stewards decide to do with that one, if, in fact, that was correct that he saw it twice.
Well, Ben Keating did make it through. That means Great Britain's Johnny Edgar is now at the wheel of the 33 Corvette. There he is. And don't forget, if you want to see what goes on behind the scenes in qualifying and in the race, WEC's full access programs are the ones you want to look at.
Information in the pit lane, information in the pit lane. The session will be delayed. The session will be delayed due to a steward investigation going on. We will come back to you shortly with the start of the session time.
Okay,
well,
so the potential penalty might drop the 27 Aston Martin Ian James out of hypercar, which might
bring the Mustang back in.
Yeah. So if you're in 11th place, you're suddenly running around, getting your driver with a suit on and a helmet on and getting him fired up and hopefully waiting for an answer that might see you go in. Everybody else outside the top 11 though. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to find out what the teams think about all of this, full access, you can go to the WEC YouTube site. And while you're online as well watching this, why not go to FIAWEC.tv. You can sign up for a free subscription. You can add to that financially if you want to get full access to all the races live online, but you can see a lot of content online, like full access before it drops on YouTube, and a whole host of other stuff that we produce over the course of the race weekends and in between time. So the full access from Sao Paulo is currently online, dropped on YouTube last week, and full access from here will be on in the week before we go to Fuji, so in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, that's in with the brains trust. I don't know what's happening here with the 88 car.
Looks like they're getting ready.
Yeah.
Looks like
driver in the back there, balaclava going on.
They
Well,
think
you have to be ready
to
just
go.
in case. So we haven't had confirmation of any decision, but yeah, be ready, have the car ready to go. And it is only a 10-minute session, but again, Anthony, this is going to be last man standing at the checkered flag, isn't it? Last across the line is likely to be the man who takes pole as the track, unless it rains again.
What a silly error if that is the cause of this situation here, as I'm sure it is.
Well, we're being told the LMGT3 Hyperpole will start at 15:22. That, I presume, means there has been a decision.
So the Lexus getting wheeled back in there, car 87.
That hadn't made it through anyway.
Yeah.
78 has.
The 88 is shown on timing and scoring as being in this session, but then so is the 27.
30 seconds to the start of the LMGT3 Hyperpole session. 30 seconds.
I think there may have been a mistake in our graphic.
15 seconds to the start of the LMGT3 Hyperpole session.
We'll wait till this goes green before we start our speculation.
We won't start our speculation.
Oh, we will. It's fun.
Pit exit is open. Pit exit is open. The LMGT3 Hyperpole session has started.
Well, the good news is the teams know which 10 cars are heading out, and as they head out on their laps, Rob, that's Zachary Robichon in 27, the Heart of Racing Aston, and there is more rain. Now, it might be the first person who sets a lap then, rather than the one who's last to do so. And again, talking to the drivers about a delay between the two sessions, it can help with tyre warm-up, because the car is already hot and stays hot.
Rain is slightly worse than for James. So currently rain level 1, pit lane.
So Sebastian Bird.
So correction, car 87 was under investigation for taking the checkered flag twice. No investigation for car 27. It was an error, and we've just seen the 87 be pushed into the garage, and the 88 is out on track. We're good to go, and it's a different order, but it is now 9 minutes to go with the silver drivers at the wheel of these 10 cars to decide who's going to be on LMGT3 pole position.
And it sounds like it is intensifying in terms of the rain coming down. So this is an interesting one in terms of getting the tyre temps up as quick as possible in the conditions where the circuit could be at its best before it gets too late. So the drivers have to be brave here, and they're more than capable, these silver drivers. Quite often the silver drivers can match the same lap times of the golds and the platinums out there. So let's see who can get the bit between the teeth and really make it work here. Valentino Rossi going through turn 13 in the yellow and blue BMW.
And their slight advantage over the bronzes is they're starting with brakes that are already hot, and so part of that warm-up cycle has already been done for them. So 2 BMWs, 2 Lexus, beg your pardon, 2 McLarens and 2 Fords have made it through.
Yeah. How close though on track. These are just battling away for position with a short session.
It's because they know they have to get the circuit when it's at its best if the rain's going to intensify, as the Mustang really
having
weaving
a big
around.
weave.
Well, it's only just 7.5 minutes to go. Well, who do we fancy in this session? Is there going to be a big surprise? BMW have had a wretched season so far in LMGT3, but Valentino Rossi has shown he's got blinding pace this year aboard that car when he's got the car underneath him. And if you're going to bet on anybody to manage limited grip, my guess is a MotoGP multiple world champion might not be the worst bet.
And in the other BMW, a guy who has done lots of rallycross, Timo Boguslavski. He's not averse to a loose surface and low grip in a car that moves around.
And then look for some of the younger talents here. Finn Gersitz has been incredibly impressive in the 78 Taconis ASP Lexus, and Ben Tuck in that 77 Mustang, one to watch.
And this morning I was chatting to Finn, and he said, you know, the guys in Lexus saying one of our advantages, we are quite heavy on the tyres, we bring them in fast. they might get a quick lap in before anybody else does. It is very damp though, as we ride on board with Zachary Roubichan. A lot more rain on the screen.
So Roubichan not quite as quick as Boguslavski in that first sector, at least, just half-tenth slower.
These might be the only laps that count. If rain continues to fall, the track could get slower. Whoever is first to the checkered flag might have the fastest lap. And at the moment, Zach Roubichan, although Ben Tuck has gone purple in Sector 2, purple in Sector 1 is Finn Gersitz in the 78 Lexus.
Zach, a very experienced silver driver indeed. And he's tippy-toeing around, but finding pace. Others are finding a little bit more at different parts of this circuit. This could be mighty close.
And look at this. Really having to fight the rear of the car there on the first apex, turn 16 through 17 and 18. He comes back over to the left-hand side of the circuit to open up turn 19, penultimate corner done. Keep it within track limits here. Brake into the final corner.
Look at 88, Gianmarco Leverato down at the bottom in the Ford. Purple Sector 2, quicker than anybody else at the moment. Zachary Roubichan is the first to set a time. 2:12, 2:10. Hang on a minute.
Sean Gelael, 2:10. Ben Tuck, wow. 2:10. Here we go.
Sean Gelael at the moment in the McLaren. Ben Tuck in the Ford. Zachary Roubichan in the Aston.
Well, to look at this, they got early. Sean Gelael and Ben Tuck both in the 2:10s, less than 2/10 apart. It's then another half a second. Leverato goes to the top.
Yes.
It's Mustang, McLaren Mustang.
And Sean Gelael quicker again on his next lap.
Ben Tuck goes purple in the first sector on his current lap. There's more to come from this session.
Are we going to have a Mustang pole in Texas? That would be fitting. So Ben Tuck in the 77 Proton car, currently in third place. Finn Gersitz, again, faster than anybody else in Sector 1. But he'll be one of the last to the line.
Sean Gelael topped the times before Gianmarco Leverato bested him. He's quicker than he was this time around. Ben Tuck quicker still. Sebastian Boe, who's at the bottom of timing and scoring. What can we see from this McLaren?
In that first sector.
So Sean Gelael sets a faster lap through that second sector as all slips slightly away through turns 12.
And
it's the Mustang.
Looking a lot harder than it did on the previous lap.
But Ben Tuck a full second quicker than the current provisional pole after Sector 2.
Sebastian Boe well up as well.
The problem for Tuck here,
he's stuck,
he's stuck behind the McLaren, isn't he? He could be going even faster. His teammate, meanwhile, car 88, Leverato, who's at the top at the moment, was clever earlier on, building himself a gap. And he's got that free track in front of him, albeit further back on track.
He's been just put a purple second sector in and is quicker than Tuck on this lap.
Johnny
so keep an eye on Sean Gelael. He's on the bottom left of your screen there. He's going to be the first one. He gets a big slide on the exit of that final corner. Improves to go first, but immediately taken away from him by Tuck, who's right up behind him.
It's a 2:08.556 now from Ben Tuck. He goes by. Sean Gelael will try to go around again. Watch for Sebastian Boe.
Nope.
P5.
Not enough. Finn Gersitz second quickest. Gianmarco Leverato.
This is the one to watch.
Is on top by half a second.
Mustang 1-2 as things stand. 88. It was not in the session at the end of the final session. It was a steward's decision against the Lexus that put it back in.
33 Corvette lost a lap for track limits. Valentino Rossi lost a lap for track limits. 2.5 minutes.
2:08.020 plays 2:08.556. It's both of the Fords. 88 from 77, Leverato from Tuck.
And it looks like the circuit is just starting to dry up a little bit, so that naturally the lap time is going to be getting faster and faster. Remember, 2:05 is what we saw during FP3.
Lexus going very slowly there, Finn Gersitz.
Purple sector for Leverato on this lap, and there were multiple other cars up on the provisional pole. Zach Roubichan, fifth at the moment in the 27 Harden Racing team. Aston Martin on board with him, Anthony.
Exactly, so here's the braking, the tricky braking zone into turn 12. Still spots of rain coming down there. P5 at the moment is Roubichan. What can he do? No, he backs out of it. He ruined the lap in turn 12. Does he feel like the circuit's getting too wet on that part with 1.5 minutes to go?
They should still get one more lap in. Everybody here, there is time. Whether there's enough tyre under the car, maybe the cooling effect of the track will help with that tyre life.
Each of these cars have got yellows at turn 12 at the moment. We'll come back to that. Double yellow. Now someone's had a bit of a moment.
Valentino Rossi lost his last lap. This is an improvement. It's still clean, it looks like.
Well, Leverato, you see on the bottom right of your screen, only a yellow middle sector, but this is what happened to the McLaren. Yeah, just ran out of brake in there. You got the ABS, obviously, so you're not going to see a massive lockup. And as soon as he gets onto the painted surface,
that's how wet it is. Sebastian Boe it was. Manages to get the car back underneath him and away. Here comes Leverato.
But Leverato had to slow down because of the yellows in turn 12. That's why he's only got a yellow sector in that second sector.
He's still up, though, after the second sector on his previous best, which is the provisional pole. Can he further improve from a 208.020? And the answer is
no.
No, he cannot.
No, I think he had to back out of that one quite heavily with the spinning car and stricken on the side of the track momentarily. But with 30 seconds still to go, he gets another go at it.
So Ben Tuck, meanwhile, goes through. He's purple first sector. Sean Gillell's on a good one.
Yeah, he's done a personal best in the first sector. Yeah, and the graphic pops up just as you say, Graham. Ben Tuck has given himself a bit of space here because he was fighting Gillell on circuit, wasn't he? So he's given himself space and had set the fastest first sector, but that's been stolen away from him.
By Leverato. This is great stuff for the Mustangs. Great stuff, too, from Sean Gillell. Who's going to get it amongst them? There's plenty of possibles. Checkered flag is out. It's this and nothing more for the cars we're watching here.
So last time around, Bo, that was Gillell's teammate spun it round in this very corner coming up here. How's Gillell going to tackle it? He's on the racing line. The car moving around. Ben Tuck's got a phenomenal middle sector, but all eyes on what Gillell can do here. Not enough in that middle sector. He's dropped some time.
Ben Tuck 6/10 quicker than Sean Gillell in the middle sector alone.
Wow.
Valentino Rossi looking to improve here. He's up into 5th and looking to go north from there. Ben Tuck, meanwhile, is looking to do what he can do to get the car to the top of timing and scoring, then hope that Leverato, who's not as quick on this lap as Ben Tuck right now, can do no more. Valentino Rossi will improve if he can carry on at this pace, but to what end?
Tuck really, he's got the car where he wants it at the moment. You can tell he's got the confidence as well. What can he do in this final sector? Brakes for one last time in turn 20 as we watch Gillell come to the line. And he sets a fastest last sector, but Tuck doesn't set a personal best at all in the final one, but I think that's could be enough for him. Yep. What can his teammate do? Leverato, bottom right of your screen.
First into the 207s, Ben Tuck goes to the top for the moment, also improving on this lap. Valentino Rossi, he goes 4th. They will do better than that. What about Leverato, though?
I think this is the only person that could possibly steal it away from Tuck.
It will be a Mustang pole, and it is a Mustang pole. It's a Mustang front row.
Look at the gap, 18 thousandths of a second between the two Ford Mustang GT3s. What a day in Texas for Proto competition and the mighty Mustangs.
Good job he got his helmet on in time, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. And 5th place, Johnny Edgar gets a flying lap in the 33 Corvette started by Ben. Big exhaling of breath in a lot of the garages. So the McLaren's 3rd and 6th, but it is a front row lockout for the first time in World Endurance history for Mustang, and we are in Texas. And the Mustangs have romped away with it.
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling that Gillell did all he could in McLaren there, but the Mustangs just had the grip. In those conditions, it had the grip. Yeah. So what does that say about the race tomorrow? If we see a dry race, their tyre warm-up in these conditions could very much go against them in dry conditions. But if you've got a race like this, well, that car's looking phenomenal.
Well, the Mustang, you know, a car with phenomenal heritage, but this Mustang GT3, this latest iteration of the car, one of the newest GT3 designs on the planet, and even, like we said, to come for next season. But what progress they've made from tricky start to the program at the start of last season to this kind of performance in what were really tricky conditions.
What's really interesting is that they were 18 thousandths of a second apart and 6/10 clear of anybody else.
But looking at the fastest sector time, it was Leverato that hangs on to the fastest first sector, and then his teammate Tuck has the second sector, and then Galale, who's third overall, had the final sector. So if you put all their lap times together, well, you got Ayrton Senna.
Well, there is your top 10 on the grid. Ford first and second, McLaren and BMW third and fourth, Corvette and McLaren fifth and sixth. What an afternoon for Ford competition.
Ben Barker was the fastest driver at the end of FP3, and now a Ford 1-2 for tomorrow's Lone Star Le Mans. What does this mean, first off, representing the Blue Oval here in Texas?
I mean, unbelievable. What a show that was in qualify. You know, our Ford Mustang GT3 has been working really well. We've obviously got the pace, as we've just shown in qualify, and to have an internal fight within the team for pole position was awesome fun. And thank you to Ford, thank you to Proton, the team, Multimatic. They've done an amazing job to get where we are, and it sets us up nicely to have some fun tomorrow.
Sister car gets pole means you guys get the win, right?
Exactly, yeah, that's team orders, right? But no, well done to the sister car. You know, it was super close between them. We got awesome bronzes, we got awesome silvers, and fighting with each other, but in a friendly fashion is, like I say, a lot of fun.
It's a really good day to be a Ford fan.
Yeah, that dust cloud over to the west is every Ford owner in Austin at the moment coming for tickets tomorrow.
Well, listen, you know, it's a great story for a US race and a US brand. It's as you say, the Mustang is, you know, one of those iconic cars. And here's another iconic US car, the Corvette. This time, 33 Ben Keating and Johnny Edgar didn't get onto pole position, and they will start in 5th position for tomorrow's 6-hour race, Lone Star Le Mans.
Well, we reset as we watch Ben Tuck and Gianmarco Leverato take correctly the plaudits of the team. Well done, Proto competition. Well done, Ford performance. Well done, Multimatic who build the cars. There is Christian Reed, the recently retired. He'll unretire again next weekend and then retire again.
I can't keep up.
No.
I can't keep up.
There will be T-shirts, but cracking stuff from the Ford squad here today.
And again, when you look back at where the car was a year ago in their first season in World Endurance, I mean, it's everybody's first in LMGT3, but it was a new car. They had all sorts of new car problems, and they have never given up on it. As a result, they've come out with a really good car. So heading into Hypercar, Anthony Davidson, again, it's still not going to be wet enough for wets, so they are going to go with the medium tyre unless there's an absolute downpour. But again, it's real jeopardy.
It really is. It's I know that the Ford Mustang had the speed in the dry conditions as well in FP3, but anything can happen in these kind of mixed conditions. So it seemed like Ferrari, they've been quick all season, bar Brazil. That was the last race we had, and they've been fast here as well in free practice. But who's to say they're still going to have the fastest car in these kind of conditions we're seeing right now? So I'm sure they're all going to be on the medium tyres. We saw the graphics there. You've got the yellow stripes. You can just see on one of the Valkyries at least. I'm sure all of them will be on that tyre. And Michelin usually will run the softest tyre available. It's not always the case. It's up to the tyre manufacturer in Hypercar which tyre they choose. They specify before qualifying, so it looks like they have specified once again the softest compound or lowest working temperature compound.
Under 1 minute to the start of the Hypercar qualifying session. Under 1 minute to the start of the Hypercar qualifying session.
And this will be so tough for all of the drivers. Notoriously, we've seen time and time again more troubles in getting tyres up to temperature in this category compared to the LMGT3. What does Van Tor say?
What is the weather forecasting? Is it going to rain more?
At the moment, the forecast says it's stable, exactly how we are now for the whole session.
Yeah, not conditions they've seen so far this week with the Hypercars, but this is it. This is the parade of awesomeness that is the 2025 Hypercar pack.
15 seconds to the start of the session. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is open, pit exit is open. This is the Hypercar qualifying session.
based on free practice times, expect to see at least one, if not possibly both Valkyrie in the top 10.
I would agree. If we didn't have these conditions, it's a total unknown at this point. That's the part of the fun, I guess, here. Proton's number 99 Porsche waiting to go.
That looks a lot wetter than it did to me.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. A little snap of oversteer through turns 4 and 5. And once again, all the way into turn 6. And like I said before, I mean, I do agree that it's slightly wetter, but we see time and time again that the hypercars struggle more. They seem to have less mechanical grip than a slightly heavier and more compliant GT car. So that's going to be the challenge for these drivers here.
All 18 cars on track, amongst the last couple to take to the track. Alex Lynn, pole setter and race winner, of course, last time out for glorious sounding Cadillac Hertz Team Jota car.
Here he is on board this outlap. We saw the Ferrari get nervous round about this part of the track, and that's exactly the same for Alex Lynn. Well held, sir, well held. Now, it's these moments where I'm glad I'm in the commentary box and sitting in one of those cars, because that is tense stuff.
Sketchy.
Very sketchy.
Wherever you're watching us, don't forget you can go online to FIAWEC.tv for a free subscription. You'll have early access to all the full access programs, along with other programs that we produce every weekend, like the race reviews. Full access from Austin will be available at FIAWC.tv earlier than on YouTube from the 19th of September. So you can find out what the teams think of all this and how the race progresses for them. You see all the behind-the-scenes footage and all the fun and games, the arguing and everything else that goes on. Now then, with a wet weather cycle and a busy track, this is going to be really tough for all of these drivers. What we're seeing here from Cadillac Hertz Team Jota. That's Alex Lynn looping it around. That was the beginning of his second, I would think, warming up lap, and we might have to get 3 warm-up laps.
No, that was his outlap.
Push the tire too much, so don't lock up. If you think TT is to open, we would go to 6.6, but yeah, let's wait until the tire is up in temp.
And that's one thing they can play with. They can open up the traction control. By that I mean letting the rear tyres slip more when you accelerate. And remember, in this category, it's only over 190 kilometers per hour that you get the activation of 4-wheel drive. They are hybrids, and you'll get that that luxury, but it only happens much faster, and there are going to be very few corners where you're traveling at those kind of speeds here. So essentially, it's only the rear where you're going to be worried about the slip of the tyres. One trick they use is just to open up the TC more to generate more tyre temperature.
Can you also, do you think, increase the amount of regen on the front to build the extra heat into the brakes at the front, I wonder? Because that might be another way of trying to help build up that front tyre temperature.
Well, in terms of the mechanical element, yes, you can adjust to a brake bias, but when you talk about regen, that's obviously the electrical element, so that's, you'd have to reduce that.
The target is to set the banker. Target is to set the banker.
Yeah, easier said than done. Easier said than done. This is where the relationship between driver and engineer can become very strained, because the drivers, they've got their eyes on stalks at the moment. One engineer is telling Kobayashi to not overcook the tyres, but all he cares about is trying to get the grip from them. So that's the pressure, and then saying, now you need a banker. Well, that's what I'm trying to do.
We're watching Gio through this entire lap, and it is torrid.
Yep.
Absolutely torrid. Car snatching away at the rear.
Watch this then. And listen. That is brave stuff through turn 16, 17, 18, because you're trying to build speed in the car to generate some downforce to give you more grip, but it's taking that decision inside the car that's the tricky part.
Remember how busy Kevin Escher looked in the dry in the number 6 Porsche. Can you imagine what it's like in the wet? He has gone quickly, though.
There goes Giovinazzi, crosses the line. It's a 2:15.319 is the banker. If you like, 7 minutes to go. Remember, This session, it's about who's outside the top 10, who's not going to make it the Hyperpole. Look at the bottom, not the top, once we've got these first few cars through. 215s are the daddies at the moment. It's both of the factory Ferraris that have got there. Watch Lacey is very quick in the middle sector.
I quite fancy the Alpines here. They look really good, really nicely balanced in free practice. That might actually not help them when it's wet.
Third, Lacey up to third at this stage of this session.
So outside the top 10, both of the Astons, one of the Peugeots, both Toyotas. Only Ryo Hirakawa has set a lap time in number 8.
I mean, even just looking at that shot there, the spray coming off. Remember, these guys are on slick tyres, and you're seeing spray coming off through turn 10. So that part of the circuit at the moment really seems to be the wettest.
Yeah, look for some big improvements coming. We expect this with teams on slightly different strategies about the way they're approaching this. I'm watching Jean-Eric Verne at the moment, as well as the teams we've got at the bottom of the graphics here. But watch Verne, who's incredibly quick in the first sector.
Yeah, the Peugeots have shown that when grip is very limited, it's actually a decently balanced chassis. Is it limited enough?
This looks like the conditions are getting worse to me, especially this part of the circuit. So Giovinazzi had improved the middle sector, but it's squirming around everywhere.
Alex Lynn is in the pit lane in the number 12 Cadillac Hertz Team Jota car, having wet tyres fitted. He's got 5.5 minutes to warm them up and get a lap in.
Well, they were doing it. It's going to be interesting to find out what the crossover was between the slicks and the wets for the condition change. So we were seeing 1 minute 51s in dry condition in FP3.
Watch on this lap Kevin Estra's time. He is massively quicker than the current provisional pole time, as is Jean-Eric Verne. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Nico Ferroni in the Proton competition car, vastly quicker and going purple in the middle sector. This could be a real shake-up here, and that's without whatever Alex Lind is able to do on the wet weather tyres. To the top, Nick Nielsen.
Jean-Eric Verne last at the moment, but green sector, purple sector. When he gets to the line, he goes second quickest, and that pushes out Kelvin van der Linde in the 20 BMW. Changes in the top 10 don't matter, at least not for now. They might move those cars closer.
The BMWs have been fast all weekend. Now we're seeing 9th and 10th on the board for both of them in these conditions.
Ferroni coming to the line now. Both Aston Martins currently in the elimination zone, as are the Caddies, as are the Toyotas.
The Cadillac just went into the pit lane. That's Earl Bamber going in for wet tyres.
Ferroni goes to the top. That doesn't matter so much, although it's a hell of a headline for Proton competition at 2:00.
Kobayashi's Toyota in the pit lane as well. 3:55 on the clock.
Everybody right now should be watching what Alex Lynn is doing on his wet weather tyres, and I can tell you he's gone quickest in the middle sector.
I'm not surprised he's gone fast in the middle sector, but I'm still not convinced it's going to be the best tyre to be on overall on the lap. So here you see car 15 really struggling, Vanthoor through turn 11. That is notoriously difficult at the moment, but Sector 1 doesn't look that bad for me, and that's where the slicks will be making a lot of lap time. It's a tough call, and like I said, that crossover is what it's all about right now.
Below about 7th place, you've got big gaps, and anybody there is in danger.
Okay, there is one caddy is putting the wets, and they're doing the same lap time, so we keep going, we can do 2 more laps at least.
As a marker here, gentlemen, the two Peugeots currently sit 3rd and 15th, and the gap is 10 seconds.
Neither Toyota is in, neither Cadillac is in, neither of the Valkyries is in. That's because they've got my 10 Euros running on them, and the number 20 BMW and the 94 Peugeot is out as well.
2.5 minutes to go. Dries Vanthoor, 10th at the moment, wants to make this a little bit more secure. Comes across the line any moment now.
That was a big lock-up in front of him as well before the final corner. That was number 5 Porsche.
Dries Vanthoor just went 7 seconds quicker, and that's what you need to do.
Here comes the Aston Martin 007.
Not enough, still P12 for now.
And not enough for 009 either.
Earl Bamber, 38, the caddy. That's the lap we need to watch. And Alex Lynn, number 12, the Cadillac. They're the ones on wet weather tyres.
Here's Ryo Hirakawa, 10th now. He's back into the top 10.
And Lynn has done the fastest middle sector of all in this session so far, just now on this current lap. And there we are, the bottom of our screen, bottom left. That's what I was watching. Yeah. This is fascinating to see how the wet tyres are getting on compared to the slicks.
This defines this session at this point, doesn't it?
Absolutely does. And here he is. We pick up Alex Lynn through the triple right-hander. The car moving around. You can see a bit more of that on the wets as you slide around on the blocks of rubber. The big question is, though, what's the circuit conditions going to do towards the end of this session? So I feel like with the wet tyre, you're going to get the best out of them straight away, as we're seeing right now. That middle sector's been nicked away from him. He does go P2 at this point, but with 1.5 minutes still remaining, what are the slick runners going to do?
That bumps out the number 8 Toyota. So Toyota's only hope is Kamui Kobayashi, perhaps, on his wet weather tyres. What about Stoffel Van Dorn in the 94 Peugeot?
He's got purple in the first sector to 14th. He's on provisional, top of the shop pace, but tippy-toeing around here.
But it looked better for me. It looked a bit drier through turn 12 at least, and he set his personal best in that middle sector as a result. What can he do through sector 3? Kubica improves. They're still on slicks as well, all of the Ferraris.
He goes top, and watch Alex Lynn. He's beginning to drop down the order now as others improve.
And Stoffel Van Dorn and Charles Milesi both outside. Van Dorn in the 20 BMW in 12th. Van der Linde as well, rather. Stoffel Van Dorn still going. Sheldon Van der Linde is in 7th, and that pushes out. Alex Lynn is out now. Has 2 improvements there, one from the BMW, one from the Alpine, still on slicks.
Yeah, the conditions are starting to improve, and that's gone against Lynn, I feel, at this stage.
The 94 Peugeot into the top 10 and then straight back out again. That's how rapidly things are improving.
And Hirakawa has just put the number 8 Toyota on slicks into the top 10. Kobayashi can't on wets.
Look at Earl Bamber here. 17th at the moment, needs to be 10th. Checkered flag is out, it's this and nothing more.
Yeah, the wets are not enough of an advantage in the wet bits to match the slicks on the drier bits.
Yeah, Bamber's wet tyres in that middle section, you'll see in the elimination zone. That graphic to the right-hand side didn't set even a personal best in the middle sector, and Bamber, it wasn't enough either. I feel like it was a gamble worth taking. It was very close, but the circuit just started to dry up at the end, and that's gone against the wet runners.
Kobayashi as well, 18th only to 16th on his wet weather tyres. And there's some big scalps been taken by this session.
But still drivers in that dropout zone setting personal best, so it's not over yet, even though the checker flag flies.
What we know is out is going to be the 38, out is the 12 and the 7.
But Schumacher is one of those drivers that's last at the moment, and he's yet to finish. So he's set 2 personal best. All of these drivers at the bottom of your screen in the graphics, they're on for personal bests.
And don't count out the Peugeots either. They're just tenths away from that top 10.
So Jean-Eric Vergne will be the first one here. He's out at the moment, down in P12, but he's yet to cross the line, and Vergne pops up into P5. The next one, Mick Schumacher, he pops up into P7. A great lap by Schumacher. What can Ribeiras do in the Valkyrie?
Track's getting quicker and quicker. If he finds 2 seconds, then he'll be in. Van der Linde is in.
Well, he was in, then he was out.
Milesi is in.
So here's Ribeiras out of the final corner. What can he do?
Doesn't get there. Van der Linde does. Ribeiras pushes him out. Ribeiras is in. Hirakawa is in. None of the wet shod tyres. The wet shod tyres are 16th, 17th and 18th.
So yeah, Harry Tinknell, he's finished his lap. He's down in 15th, but the other Valkyrie, P8.
Well, as a marker of how quickly that all happened, Mick Schumacher was up, I think, in 6th, about 30 seconds before the end of that session, and he finishes it 13th.
Yeah.
And Kobayashi absolutely last with those wet tyres on car number 7 Toyota. That was the wrong decision to go onto the wets.
How quickly the track got faster. Not just stayed where it was, it got fast. The moment they went for wets, it started really speeding up.
It was that Van Dorn lap we watched, car 94, through turn 12, which was treacherous the whole way through. It was when I saw him go through that corner, not looking so sketchy, that we realised the circuit was improving. And as soon as the slick tyre would get enough temperature, it was always going to destroy the wets.
It's completely correct. We need to talk about the 8 cars that didn't make it. Can we just take a moment to say well done, Nico Ferroni, in the 99 Proton competition. Porsche topped that session by a quarter of a second in the Privateer 963.
Yeah. So Proton's 99 Porsche goes through. Last year's winners, Robert Kubica in the 83 Ferrari goes through. The Porsche Penske number 6 goes through, number 5 does not. Both factory Ferraris, 50 and 51, go through. The 15 BMW makes it, the 20 doesn't. 35 Alpine Charles Malaysia makes it, 36 Mick Schumacher doesn't. 009 Aston Martin, Alex Riberas, well, a man who knows this track really well, he gets through as well. 93 Peugeot, Jean-Eric Verne found the pace. 94 Stoffel van Dorn didn't quite, and the final car that goes through, Ryo Hirakawa, it was his day to qualify today, and on slicks on the 8, he found the pace. And actually, some of those guys that were down in 14, 15, 16 found 3 or 4 seconds on the last lap as it dried up, and that was the difference.
And as a mark of the jeopardy in that last couple of minutes, just look at the 8 cars that are out of this. It is both Cadillacs, and it is single cars from 6 different teams, which means you've got cars from those 6 teams on both sides of the cut line. That's how tough it was. It wasn't about the pure pace in the car, it was about what tyres that car was on and where they were on the track at that point.
The question that will be asked down at Cadillac, though, is that why didn't they roll the dice and have one car on one car on the other? They both went to wets, and I think as a team that decision maybe not the best, because Toyota split their strategy with car number 8 just making it through on the slicks and the car 7 plumb last on the wet. So I think in those kind of conditions, when you got the 2 cars, you have to split them. It was so close, wasn't it, those conditions?
Just watching Alex Lynn's body language there, and it was, please don't talk to me right now. Oh.
Yeah, Nick Nielsen looking over there at Robert Kubica going, where did you think you were going there? And look, Nico Ferroni right behind in the white and green Porsche. And not sure where the minibus is going, luckily not into pit road. But yeah, Kamui Kobayashi, he gambled on a wet as well, didn't work.
Well, we talked about who's out, who's in.
Let's catch up with Shea Adam and Mathieu Jaminet at Porsche Penske Motorsport.
Mathieu Jaminet, the conditions look so difficult out there, and your Porsche the only one not making it through, unfortunately. Was it Julian just not getting the run of luck in that session?
I think we've been a little bit unlucky with the last lap. We started a lap too close to the Alpine in front of us, and yeah, that cost us some time. It was a little bit in dirty air, and as we knew, the timing was key, and it was all about that last lap. And yeah, we lost quite a bit, and that's just enough to not make it through. So yeah, that's what it is. We go from P11, all to play tomorrow. Maybe there is more rain. We see that the Porsche cars are competitive, so yeah, let's hope the weather keeps being a little bit moist.
Nothing but good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
A little bit moist, you see that? It's always hard hoping for just a sprinkling of rain, because it's either going to dry up or get wetter, neither of which is exactly what you want. Okay, so 10 cars getting to go through then. And that was what in the States they would call a complete crapshoot. It was almost the luck of the dice. You know, it was, yeah, if you just had one, if your best lap was your last one, you were in, and if your best lap wasn't, you just
1 minute,
weren't.
under 1 minute to the start of the Hypercar Hyperpole qualifying session, under 1 minute.
And don't forget, if you bring an umbrella, it doesn't matter whether it rains or not coming here tomorrow. Tickets are still available for race day here at COTA. So if you happen to be like in our hotel in Austin, and we've just alerted you to the fact that the race is on, come down and enjoy the world's greatest endurance motor racing all in one place. Tickets still available for Fuji. Those have got to be in single digits, haven't they? And for
30
Bahrain
seconds
as
to the
well.
start of the session.
A 10-minute Hyperpole session.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is open, pit exit is open. This is the Hypercar Hyperpole qualifying session.
What we need now is 2 dry laps and then for it to have like a big sprinkle somewhere on the circuit just to make everything even more exciting than it was in the last lot.
No, you want it to be drying up all the way through to the end like it was in the last lot. Jeopardy right to the end. If it rains after 2 laps, we'll just sit down and have a cup of tea.
No, because somebody will think they can get a better lap out of it. 10 minutes this time, so you really can't afford to go into the pit lane and try any funny stuff. If it does rain a bit more, then, well, exactly as we heard before with Kevin Estre, we've got to get a banker lap in. Now, Robert Kubica obviously was keen to get out. See the Peugeot running out very wide there. And Kevin Estre is keen to get by the Ferrari, I think.
How much margin I have for the 4 push lap? How much slower can I go on the out lap?
Not much, not much.
So you wanted to build yourself a gap, but also make sure you can have enough laps to get the job done. And that's what they're fighting for here, is track position. Because as they learned in the previous session, it's all about getting the tyre temp up. And for that, you need to be driving fast, but then everyone else is trying to do exactly the same thing, so you're just in this gaggle of cars.
With the possible exception of Robert Kubica, who looked to be trying to back them up a little bit there. And he was certainly looking, Jean-Luc Vergne, for a way by the 83 car. Couldn't find it, almost tripped up and lost the track position to the Penske Porsche.
This is such hard. I can't explain how hard this is from inside the car. Moments like this where literally every corner you come to and every lap you do, you've got a different level of grip. So it's assessing, you're trying to spot the darker parts of the track where it might be wetter, the car's snapping under you all the time, you're monitoring the amount of rain falling on the windscreen, and you're building this picture at speeds of close to 200 miles an hour, and knowing where to brake and how hard to put your foot on the brake in those moments. That's the real skill in these conditions.
The problem is that you are desperate to be as non-conservative as possible and yet not wreck it.
Absolutely, because you know the more you take the risk in sliding the car around, the better chance you have of building tyre temperature. That's going to be your friend on a damp circuit. So that's the line they're playing with here, and it's that gamble that's so fun from inside the car when it's going well, but you're always under that pressure because you know at any moment it can snap on you. The track could be wetter than you're anticipating, or not yielding the grip that you're expecting, and around it goes, and before you know it, you're in the barrier. So that's what they're playing with right now.
First man across the line, Antonio Giovinazzi. Alex Ramirez just leaving the pit lane a little later than everybody else. Is that going to be a disaster for the Aston, or is that a work of genius, I wonder?
So Nick Nielsen at the moment, fastest first sector. Giovinazzi personal best. You see at the bottom of your screen there the 2 Ferraris, and still this sort of battle of track position goes on between the Alpines, the Porsche, the privately entered Porsche at least, to the Proton Competition 99. Giovinazzi fastest in the middle sector.
Between the 2 Ferraris, Nielsen was 48 hundredths, 0.48 of a second quicker in one sector than Giovinazzi.
But he's lost a lot of speed as Nielsen through turn 12. I think that happened in the braking.
Yeah.
And he's backed out of this lap. It looks like Giovinazzi setting the benchmark.
I wonder if he was closing on Giovi too quickly. He was half a second quicker, pretty much, in sector 1. If that was replicated down the straight in sector 2, he might well have gone, no, I'm just going to run into the back of him. I need to back this out.
Just taking a look at our timing and scoring, and looking at the speed traps. 242 kilometres an hour to Giovinazzi, 217 for the sister car. Absolutely right, backed out of it. 202, 155 for Giovinazzi. That's the marker for the 51 Ferrari. 5.5 minutes to go.
Again, 1:51.9 was the fastest lap time in the dry, so it is still not a quick track. Here comes the Toyota, Ryo Hirakawa. Dries Van Tor backing up the BMW, trying to find himself some space. Nico Varone across the line in the 99 Porsche.
Yeah, looked like he was just backing off into the final corner, just to give himself a bit of track position there. So we're riding on board with Dries van Tor in the car 15 BMW, and that's a problem. Running out onto that serrated curb, exit of turn 1, the car's going to snap on you immediately. It's still not dry enough in that corner to be using the dry line. So that's why you're seeing Giovinazzi here completely avoiding that serrated curb on the exit of turn 11, but Nielsen's at it again through the first sector, closing in on his teammate as this lap unfolds. Kubica not far behind them on track, P4 at the moment.
The three Ferraris, 9 of the top 10 here, or the 10 cars running, are up on the current provisional pole time. There's timed and found here, and in the case of some of them, it's multiple seconds up. It's going to be well under 2 minutes, the pole position lap here.
Once again, so it's Nielsen's got it in sector 1, Giovinazzi's got it in through sector 2. So let's see who's the fastest through this final sector without Nielsen backing out of it this time around. Into the bravery of the triple apex right-hander here.
It's going to be very close because it was just about 2/10 advantage for Jovi in for Nielsen in sector 1 and for Jovi in sector 2, so they are almost level pegging.
The fourth car in the fight at the moment is going to be the Proton Porsche at this stage of the qualifying session. Wow. He's in the window of this Ferrari qualifying pace. Giovinazzi goes through. It's a 1:57.751. Here comes Nielsen.
Yeah, 8/10 away, nearly 9/10 away there. So whatever Giovinazzi is doing, and Kubica goes fastest for now. So he's nailed that final sector. I was going to say whatever Giovinazzi is doing in the final sector, Nielsen's got to take note. But it's Kubica that comes up and surprises them all.
Estre to third. What about Veroni?
Oh, a big lock up there on the rear for Kevin Estre. P3 at the moment, but that wasn't an ideal turn 1, and this might be the reason. The rain looks like it's coming down heavier through that corner.
Yeah, Veroni had a poor third sector. He does no better than 6th. It's still a good result at the moment for them.
See that rain coming down on the screen, and here on the Alpine as well with Charles Malesi. And it's intimidating when you see that on the screen before the braking zone. And that's probably the reason why they're losing a bit of speed through there. Avoids the curb on the exit.
It's that final sector for Vantor and Malesi. Both were yellow sectors, so not as quick as they had done. Is that where it's wettest now?
93, the Peugeot, in the hands of Jean-Eric Verne, is on very good pace, but a second time now, it's a black and orange flag for him. Rain lights to be turned on. He was told to start the session. They're still not on. He needs to respect that right now.
Malesi on target for the fastest lap at the moment. Let's see what sector 2 gives us.
Yeah, so Giovinazzi's already been through sector 2. You can see the bottom left of your screen, and Kubica has lost that time in that very sector this time around. So what's happened to the car 83? Giovinazzi could be on track here to steal that pole position at the moment from his teammate, or the car 83 at least. Runs wide though, he does through the penultimate corner. Ooh. So that lap will be scrapped.
So Kevin Estre looking to secure good position on the grid. Charles Malesi too. Watch as well, Dries van Tor. He is right in the window to challenge for pole position for BMW as well.
He really is. Giovinazzi dropped it in that very corner where Estre has just gone through. That could be pole gone in that moment for Giovinazzi.
It's this final sector that is the slow part, the wet part. Can Kevin Estre put it to the top of the pile now? 2.5 seconds slower.
And track limits as well for Kevin Estre. Look at Dries van Tor.
He's backed out of it. He's backed out of it. Look, running with all of them now. It's too wet there, surely.
Jean-Eric Verne went third fastest. Dries van Tor, Charles Malesi and lockup.
Massive lockup, massive. It's too wet on this part of the track. Yeah. Sector 3's destroyed with the rain right now.
They were both up on the previous lap until sector 3 as well, and it's exactly the same. That is, well, there's only 50 seconds left. This is everybody's last chance.
It's not going to happen. I can tell you, Dries van Tor lost 6 seconds in the third sector. He was more than half a second up on the provisional pole time after sector 2, and it just went.
Well, it's exactly what happened to Giovinazzi as well. So the second sector was improving, and then that rain drifted around to the final sector, and that's why Giovinazzi went off the track, and why Van Tor, who is off the track properly now.
Yep.
That's run wide. So you've got what you wanted, Martin. We've got rain at the end of the session. And this is how it happened, yeah. tank slapper at higher speed. Does he keep it up? Barry does.
That was a get-out-of-jail-free card there.
Look at that, nothing he could do. Just turning in and straight away the rear snaps on him. That's what I was talking about earlier on, assessing where the grip's going to be.
So lucky, and for that matter, skilled as well to keep it out the barrier.
Yep, well there is the BMW team, WRT, all watching in there. And again, I'm sure there'll be microphones picking up what they thought of all of that.
Well, Kubica did it when he needed to, and he got that final sector together, didn't he, at the time where the other two works Ferraris didn't quite get it done. Giovinazzi stays just that under 10th of a second away.
Well, winners last time here, the 83 crew, and they maintained their maximum points all into qualifying here.
It's whoever could put the lap together, or the best of a bad situation, basically, and that's what Kubica was able to do.
And that gives them another point in the championship. That moves them just a whisker closer to the 51 car. So it's Kubica who puts the 83 Ferrari on pole from 51. Jean-Eric Vergne, third fastest for Peugeot. And that is their best qualifying of the season. 93 Peugeot, the best run they've had so far. Sixth place on the grid in Sao Paulo. 2 fourth place qualifying runs for the 94 car. It's the first top 3 qualifying position for Peugeot this season.
It is indeed. Take note, that's black and orange flag. I hope they got that light on by the end of that session.
And it is the first pole position of the year for car 83. Robert Kubica. We knew he was a star years ago, and that star has not faded any. And you saw the smiles from Phil Hansen and Ye Yifei, last year's winners, will start the defence of their victory in the Lone Star Le Mans on pole position. A big smile in his eyes.
Yeah, that's when you know these conditions is when you can really shine as a driver. And if you've got the better of your teammates in the same equipment, it feels even sweeter. So Kubica, rightly so, very happy with the job he's done there.
They've had 2 front row starts already this season, but they have not started on pole position. So Shea Adam is down there, just saw her in one of the wide shots. She'll be ready to take us through the presentation of our Hyperpole winners. That wasn't a bad qualifying Ferrari. It's a Ferrari lockout with 83 on pole, 51 alongside. Then Peugeot and Porsche on row 2, 93 and 6.
A little bit of history. That is the first time we've seen in the FIA World Endurance Championship Hypercar era a privately owned car on pole position.
Well, 009 Aston Martin Alex Riberas didn't quite get the speed he wanted out of the car in these slightly tricky conditions. I don't think since pre-season testing they've actually had any wet running in that Aston. Nevertheless, really encouraging signs of progress. They made it through on pace, not just a fluke or somebody else getting eliminated. That was a good run from 009.
And the good news is as well, we're still unsure of who's got the speed in the dry. With these mixed conditions that we've had today, we go into tomorrow still with that unknown hanging over us all, and including the drivers and teams.
You're on it, and now we're properly getting wet. Stefano Gittis, I'll start with you. Congratulations on pole position. It was not raining this hard in your session. Very slippery, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very slippery since the beginning, in particular in the last corner. But yeah, we managed it very well. And then Gianmarco made a super job during the Hyperpole, putting us on pole position. And also the team made a mega job for putting also the sister car in the front row with us. So it's very good for us, and we are super happy.
It's a job well done, as you said, for Gianmarco Leverato. Gianmarco, you were the first driver in the world to get the GT3 pole position for Ford a couple years ago at Virginia International Raceway. Now we're here. It's Austin, it's COTA, and it's the blue oval. Does it get any better than this?
Yeah, for sure. Both the pole position, both feels amazing, but this one more because it's also the home race for Ford, so it feels really, really good. The car was unbelievable. I was also in the slippery condition out there. It was not easy, but I think 1 and 2 for Ford is a really good result.
And for Dennis Olsen. Dennis, we talked before the session even began, we thought it was over. Now starting at the front of the grid, it's a bit better than 11th, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say this is way better. Gianmarco was actually getting changed in the changing room, so it was a bit of a rush before the session, but yeah, very proud of my boys. We were unlucky in the first qualifying session, but yeah, we got through with some luck, and Gianmarco just pulled it off and did a fantastic job. So big thank you to Ford and Multimatic and as well Prologue.
First trophies of the weekend to come for these three gentlemen. We've got the head of motorsports from Rolex here to present them with their medals. It's Jean-Baptiste Costa. Now it's the first moment they've been waiting for. Next thing that we have for these gentlemen is to pose, celebrate with photos. Job very well done, gentlemen. Look forward to see what Ford can do tomorrow for the Lone Star Le Mans, the 6-hour race. But we're only halfway through our Hyperpole ceremony because we still have the overall pole sitter to talk to. We'll get these three gentlemen lined up in position. I'll start with you, Robert, because it was you who put the time in. Ended last year in P1. Now you're back here in P1 again. Circuit of the Americas, do you think this track likes you?
I don't know. Conditions were quite different to last year, but yeah, we managed to execute well both sessions last year race, which was complicated, and actually qualifying was very complicated due to the weather. So yeah, managed to put decent lap in the good window of track condition, and yeah, that was enough for P1, so we are happy. It doesn't really matter, such a complicated tomorrow race, 6 hours, but what it matters is 1 point, so yeah, we take it.
And for Yifei, we were talking about championship. 1 point makes a big difference, but also a clear run into turn 1. How important is that going to be for tomorrow's race?
I mean, we are in the best position possible to defend our win since last year. So very good lap from Robert. Of course, the race is still very long, as he said, but we have everything to play for.
I'll go to Phil Hansen next. Phil, car is good in the wet. Apparently it's good in the dry too, as you were telling us in FP3. Do you care what the conditions are like tomorrow?
I mean, seeing what Robert could do in the wet today, now, yeah, less so, definitely. We're in the best possible position for tomorrow, so we're just going to try and consolidate that pole and try and turn that into victory.
Well, congratulations to all three of you gentlemen, and now they'll be getting their medal ceremony next. Once again, Jean-Baptiste Costa here from Rolex to present them with their first trophies of the weekend. And you've got to feel like momentum is on their side a little bit. Once again, the final part of this ceremony, if you gentlemen will pose for the pictures. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll let you get out of the rain and go to the press conference. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for this qualifying session. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Lone Star Le Mans, we're going to be on air for close to 7 hours, so tune in. Lots of good racing to come. Who knows if the weather will be like this, if it'll be sunny. But one thing's for sure, it's always fun when you're racing in Texas.